I got a big thumbs up from the back of the room, which says, ladies and gentlemen, this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Sunderland Board of Selectmen. If we can call it to order at 7:00. I was gonna say 2 by the David Pierce time clock, but we double checked that.
The precision we maintain.
Precision we maintain, David Pierce timepiece. So our first order of business tonight is a joint meeting with the library, Sunderland Library Trustees. And there's a vacancy as of September 5th. There was a vacancy that was created when one of the members, Ms. Strip, moved out of town. And we have an open position. And as we have in the past, open positions fulfilled by the joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen and in this case here, the trustees. So with that said, we have our notice in writing. We have acknowledgement of the town clerk. We're here, you guys are posted. Posted meeting. Sure.
I don't know, is it posted? It should be.
We're in a posted meeting. And that said, we are going to work together to fill a vacancy. So we're going to start by accepting nominations from the floor. This is going to be for a term to be filled out the remainder of this term. Again, this is an elected position. That's why we're going through this process. And that'll get us to the annual election. That said, are there any nominations from the floor for vacancy on the Sunderland Public Library Board of Trustees?
I'd like to nominate David Wisman.
Okay, are there any other nominations?
Did you ask your father?
I think he knows I'm good though.
Okay.
He's probably watching.
He didn't give you any hints?
No. Okay, we have a nomination. Not hearing any other nominations at this point. I'll close the nominations. And this is a procedural roll call vote. I'm going to pass it over to the roll call vote to the town administrator. In a perfect world, we'll do this alphabetically. At least that's how it'll show up on the form. Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to announce last name of the board members here and just answer with yay or nay with regard to support of David Wisman. Barry? Hey. Bidenkevitz?
Yay.
Lacey?
Yay.
Where the heck that come
Lepaka?
Yay.
Pierce?
Yay.
Zachary?
Yay.
Starr? Yay. And Voorhees?
Somebody's gotta vote no.
Unanimous.
Well, although if we
Unanimous vote.
have a unanimous vote in front of us, so David, congratulations with respect to your trusteeship. Thank you for your service. Now that means you got to work all winter, not take off and go skiing like your father. That said, you want to go a brief update with respect to the library, how things are going while you're here?
Yeah, I think we made a little list to go over a few things. I think Adam was gonna lead the way on that. Adam, the director of the library, Adam Rovit.
I'll just have a brief update here. And so I'm sure that many people are aware that we were awarded a grant from the Mass Board of Library Commissioners that was for $15,000 over 2 years to spend on young adult programming that's defined as people from 12 to 18 years old. We're just at the beginning end of that grant, and actually tonight we have a meeting of, there's a junior young adult advisory board, so this is primarily people that are moving out of the elementary school and into the middle school. So they're 6th and 7th graders, 5th and 6th graders. And there's 5 kids over there tonight that are actually beginning to work on how we're going to spend that money, which is pretty exciting. They're going to really play a pivotal role in how we develop programming and how we purchase materials. And we also have a potential redesign of the young adult space for something that they'd like a little bit better. And as to how the library is doing, just sort of in general, this year will be the year with the highest circulation of any year since the new library's been open. And roughly speaking, just for a comparison, over an average of about the last 5 years, there'll be roughly an extra month of circulation. So this is very much like if you go buy a dozen bagels and they give you 13, you feel pretty good about it. So
In this case here, you feel kind of tired about it, right?
well, honestly, it it works out to something like an 8 or 9% increase. And we've done it with more or less the same number of people coming into the library. So people are checking out, essentially people are checking out more books. And the other thing that's changed is this year, as of Saturday, we equaled the highest year of program attendance. So the highest year of program attendance, I believe, was 2008 with 3,100 people, and as of Saturday, we had 3,150, and as of Saturday, we had 3,170. So the next 6 weeks will all be additional programs. We've actually done it with fewer programs that have been more successful. So the program attendance has been up. In some sense, we actually worked less hard and planned more to bring people through the door in a better way. And I think those two things really work together. How people have come in for more programs. I think especially a lot of the program growth and a lot of the circulation growth has been with people with young families. So, like as an example, we started something called Lego Club. I have never seen a recurring program that the attendants have been more excited about, whether it's young people or older people. So there's been things like that. We also have, we recently started a knitting group, and that has probably a pool of about 20 attendees and somewhere between 12 and 15 showing up at every group. So, and we also started mothers with, not really mothers, but caregivers and babies and toddlers group. So those two groups meet on Monday mornings, and they bring in somewhere between 25 and 40 people every Monday morning, those two groups together. And there's sort of a natural synergy, I like to think, between the mothers with young babies and the predominantly older women that are knitting, that there's something very kind of nice.
Those babies are making out, huh?
Yeah, everybody, there's a lot of kind of excitement and adoration that happens around the library on Monday mornings. So,
I see a lot of toddlers with really cute hats.
yeah, yes. we are actually talking about getting a sort of like bring your baby, get a hat, kind of thing going on there. That, you know, I mean, there's other stuff sort of in the middle. We have chess club, which is something that we started. We did one round of it prior, and that had good attendance, and we had 6 kids at the last chess club. But again, it's just started, and I think one of the big successes of the year was the summer concert series that we had. Those were, you know, those brought in somewhere around 100 people for the 2 of them. I think that events like the summer concert series bring a lot of new people into the library, and but I think that all of the events that I'm talking about, like the summer concert series, which we're going to do 3 concerts this year, and the knitting group, and the moms and babies, and the chess club, and the coffee Friday group, are all very important things for bringing people from Sunderland into the same place at the same time, and building a sense of community and support here. And just to mention this as kind of an aside, we haven't really tracked, or I don't have data that tracks this for a very long time, but certainly the trend since I've been recording it for the last couple of years is that the attendance of people from Sunderland is creeping up. So I think that, you know, that's something that we at the library try and do. We don't just try and have successful programming. We are really trying to have successful programs that bring people in from Sunderland and support the library, because we're very grateful for the home that we have and for the support that we get from the town and from the people in the town. Other things, the library trustees were working on one thing that we never did when the library was built was we never put in signage. So you sort of walk into the library and you look around and try and figure out where stuff is. The helpful staff is very willing to help you. but we're trying to make it a little bit easier for people to be self-guided. We're working on some policy updates, website upgrades, and we just had our first heat pump compressor fail, so we're really starting to see, the building's 10 years old, we're starting to see some residual maintenance issues creep in, but so far, so good. So, I mean, when John said, could you talk for a few minutes about what's happening at the library, I was certainly very, very glad to, because at the moment, at any rate, things are going well. It's nice to see these numbers, and it's nice to see the people apparently enjoying themselves, because I guess that's what we do.
Repeat faces.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, I think it's like any business, that, somewhere around like 20, they always say 20% of your people bring 80% of your, do 80% of the checkouts. And a real core group for us is, and definitely a growing group is young families. And there's a lot of people that we see in, every week or every couple of days. And we're starting to build very, very slowly, sort of a teen readership group where they're coming in. We've been spending a little bit more money on that kind of stuff. And then there's the sort of regular adult readers. So, but the new programs, I think, are really bringing in new people and sort of changing the demographic a little bit. So that's.
And the trustees want to weigh in? It's your chance. How's he doing?
He's doing very well.
Good.
We don't have to we don't micromanage him too much, because he really handles things himself. And
One of the things he was gonna do, he didn't mention, so it made me wonder if it didn't work out very well, the miniature golf in the library.
Oh yeah. We had the miniature golf, right? I went to a conference that was put on by the state. I was actually invited to speak on a panel at it, but I thought, okay, I'm gonna do one thing. You go to a conference and it's like people just talking, and you think, all right, I'm gonna do one thing that somebody says at this conference, and it was miniature golf in the library as a teen program. So we're gonna start doing miniature golf. We pushed it back to January due to some logistical problems, but Thursday nights when the library's closed, we're gonna set up a miniature golf course.
Sounds great.
if you're gonna break a window, you want to do it in January.
Yeah. Right. So
It's not so cold out.
right now, there's some clubs at the high school. We have a little bit of buy-in from some clubs at the high school. That are sort of like the French club or whatever is making a French-themed miniature golf course hole for us, and another club, and maybe the Sunderland Women's Club. I called them up because I really will ask anybody for anything. So we'll see what the Sunderland Women's Club comes up with.
Nice. That sounds great. Questions of the board?
How do you basically advertise?
How do we advertise programs?
That seems I'm just curious because, about if you have an email list or if you use the web page, or how do you get the notice out?
We have a web page that, people that are regulars at the library that are sort of already involved at the library check with. We started a Facebook page about 6 months ago, and when we hired the new young adult librarian, that was something that she was specifically charged with doing. And she actually came from Holyoke, where she ran Holyoke's Facebook page. There is a Google email list that people sign up for. And we send press releases to we've managed to format our press releases right now so that they actually do appear in the Gazette and the Recorder and the Bulletin. And they also go on community television here. Is that Channel 15? Mm-hmm. And then we have a very good working relationship with FCAT across the river. And in fact, FCAT just came over and did a program where there was a teen zombie day, and kids got zombie makeup, and then they had a green screen where they could have their picture taken in front of like a scary background. And so it's like that. They're going to be coming over and setting up a big screen for Saloma is giving a talk at the library. So we have a very good working relationship with them, and we're working now on there's a daily announcement at Frontier, and we're trying to streamline the process to get our announcements for the teen programs directly advertised during the daily announcements at Frontier. So it's sort of a number of things. I mean, it's normal press release, the website, the Facebook page.
That's a good question, because it's actually something that we have been talking about, is how to get the word out. You know, we have that little corner sign there, that sandwich board.
Right.
And we have talked about approaching the Board of Selectmen and Town Hall to do sort of a joint illuminated sign, either somewhere, maybe on the corner there where that sandwich board is, something more permanent that would announce Town Hall activities as well as library, and also point people down School Street to come to these buildings.
I just think that's we have a lot of programs, we do a lot of things, but I think we don't get the attendance because we don't do a good job of penetrating into our residents.
Right, and that might be a decent way to do it, you know, to put an
Oh.
illuminated sign out
It's a
there. I
good
know that
sign.
the school has one and it works
Right.
pretty well.
It's
I think it's
funny
a-
also, but, and if you talk to many old-time residents of the town, they don't believe that residents of apartments are residents of town. Yet we have residents of apartments that have been there for 10, 15, 20 years now.
Oh, yeah.
I think they probably have they have a lot of buy-in, but sometimes we don't get the word out to them as well either. So it's just, I'm just very interested in how you're doing it, because you are doing a good job. If you're starting to increase, you're doing it, and that's what we're trying to do also.
We also do we only can afford to do it once a year, but we do a print newsletter that basically advertises all the summer programs, and that goes to everyone in town in June. So that's a way for at least things that are happening through the summer, where we do tend to be busy and have a lot of kids programming.
The senior center also puts out a newsletter that I'm sure they'd welcome, your
Absolutely.
input on, so you might get.
That's an interesting point, too.
Yeah.
And you
if
can send it
talk to-
over to us too for our website, because we can put it on the town blog
On the
too.
town website, yeah.
But I think social media is probably gonna give you the biggest bang for your buck.
Yeah, I think eventually the Facebook media will become important, but it takes time to build all that stuff. It is difficult being off the main drag, and we have talked for a number of months about how it would be beneficial to have a sign out on Main Street. One of the things that we did when we had the summer concert series was we made lawn signs up. Did you see any of those?
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a strong driver for people, just the visibility of it.
That reminds me too, we have the banner poles now too, so depending on the event, you could do a banner
Yeah.
if it merited, a banner,
Well,
but
this year, I think is the 10th anniversary of the library, and we're talking about maybe combining a celebration for the library with one of the concerts. So
That's a good
that would be
idea.
a real kind of capstone event for the year.
you
What's the
guys,
banner thing? What?
Good.
when we put the fall festival.
Oh, you
banner-
mean the big banner?
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
an option for like, I would imagine you'd probably want to use it for bigger things,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. And
but-
we're not going to have it for a story hour Friday.
Exactly, right. A little bit too much work for that, you know.
Story hour ad.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you could actually have it up there for story hour every Friday. Hang it up for a couple of weeks.
You guys using Twitter at all, or just Facebook?
Just Facebook at this point.
Because I noticed there's a lot of shifting demographics right now. The Facebook audience is tending is essentially getting older.
Yeah, it's amazing.
A lot of people under a certain age aren't even using Facebook at all, so.
Right.
It's
Amazing.
shifting, you know?
You think
It's
about what we were
always-
talking about 10 years ago. Just remarkable.
Right, we have hand-painted lawn signs on Main Street.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Went from hand-painted signs to
We got
Twitter.
that fence put up.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about
Yep.
that.
It's holding up
Yeah,
all right?
yeah.
Still there?
Still
See if
there.
it gets
That's
through the
good.
winter?
Yeah, that'll be the true test.
I think it looks good.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
No doubt about that. Anything else? Questions, comments for the board? Public comments for the library trustees? If not, keep doing the fine things you guys do. I appreciate all of it. Thanks so much and congratulations,
Right.
David.
Congratulations, Dave. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
You know,
all right, like us on
you know
Facebook.
that Paul Harvey, Richard, for 1 second, you remember that Paul Harvey thing, the ad where he talks about the farmer and going to the meetings and everything? Well, the other night, we were at Richard's CPA meeting, and I'm sitting there, and the only thing I can think about is that Paul Harvey statement, because I'm watching Mike Wisman with his glasses, and he, you know, it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and he's going over all these budget reports, and next to him, you got Sarah, and you got Helen, and you got Richard, and you got Sarah, and they're all, the only thing I could think of was Paul Harvey talking about, and actually, that's what makes our town work. If it wasn't for people like that, he wouldn't
Serious
work.
people, right? They're
But
really
why?
serious people.
But they were taking their time, they're reading, they're looking at budget stuff, and I go, you know, you people have to, you're absolutely amazing to put that type of dedication into.
If you think about that, the time, as you were saying, the time, but also the quality of the work. It's very rare that we have a committee with
I don't
light deliverables.
I
We
don't
always
think
have good
people,
ones.
I don't think people
gotta
sometimes our
care.
residents don't understand how much time and effort goes into a lot of the stuff that's presented before them.
By the way, the paperwork came out yesterday or Friday for the CPA. So we did get 100% match.
Oh,
Again,
nice.
good.
That's good.
82,900 something,
That's
2
fabulous.
years in a row. 23 towns have 100%, so it's not everybody.
Great.
Not wonderful.
That's
Of
good
course,
news.
as the whole discussion went, there was an area of concern with declining reimbursements, et cetera,
Yeah,
but.
yeah. The budget went, they got more money than a few years ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's almost twice as much distributed in some areas.
Oh.
And so the background funding looks solid.
Nice. Well,
Good.
And is there a timeline for submittals? Must be done.
Yes, Jeff, I think it's January 7th.
There you go. So anybody who's interested in the CPA, CPC application?
Yeah, we have some stirring up.
There you go.
Expect to have something.
Perfect.
Good job.
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Okay, 7:30, we have sewer commissioners. Before that, let's take a look at our minutes of November 4th.
Motion.
You have a
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor, minutes of November 4th?
Aye.
3-0, Margaret.
Okay.
Okay. We have also in front of us the, as anybody who's followed the workings of the last 2 years, in particular the last, more than 2 years, the last 6 months, the regional EMS, of course, all 3 towns' meetings have happened, special town meetings. The intermunicipal agreement has been sent out for legal review. There is some consensus on the review. And in front of us, we have no longer the draft intermunicipal agreement. We have is the intermunicipal agreement with a couple of modifications that have come out post-town meeting. And that said, I'd like to have tonight a motion to enter into the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Deerfield and Whately, contingent, as it's presented, contingent upon their approval. We won't be signing anything tonight. We're gonna actually go about the vote, so it moves to the next step, that is to the other towns.
The form of vote is right before the board. The council drafted the motion.
All right.
The big red circle.
You want to read the big red
That's it.
circle?
I wanna ensure,
I move that the board approve the agreement among Deerfield, Sunderland, and Whiteley for South County Emergency Medical Services operations and authorize signature of the agreement upon approval of the agreement by the other participating towns and satisfactory completion of the terms of the related building lease agreements for the primary building in South Deerfield and the reserve building in Sunderland. And the second, the master inventory list of equipment.
second? Second, sorry, David.
No, it's okay.
I was gonna say before the piece was read, just a little piece of discussion here, that although we're getting the IMA here, there's still working parts of this, including the lease and including the master lease piece of equipment that actually came out of the working group. And that was really very productive work. I just wanted to put that in there. That said, we have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0, please. Now that will move forward. The time you're our rep, as well as Bob Ahern,
Tomorrow night.
tomorrow
Tomorrow
night,
night, big
first
meeting.
meeting.
Right.
So, and that's in Deerfield?
No, Public Safety Complex, Sunderland.
Sunderland.
It is
Okay.
posted.
Okay, so anybody interested? Okay, thank you for that. Okay. I guess we're a little bit early in this being a sewer commissioner's piece. I want to hold true to that. That said, we have a request in front of us for, we have two requests in front of us. The first is about temporary compensation adjustment for work being done during the period while there's no treasurer collector. As anybody who's been in and around the office knows, it's been impacted some of the hours of availability, but more importantly, some of the hours that our own staff has been putting in. And in front of us, we have a recommendation for a recommendation from the town administrator for a temporary increase of $3 an hour for the up to $18.57 for the treasurer, out of the treasurer collector salary line for temporary work being done in the collector's office by our office, and then a $1,600 one-time stipend for a temporary treasurer collector work that town administrator is responsible for, and then a $1,000 to be paid for a new treasurer collector, but this has a deliverable to it. That is upon the completion of and consolidating a list of tasks, the mass retirement, teacher's retirement. There's a whole series of reports associated with that. These are normally tasks done by the treasurer collector. And in the interim of what has been now more than a full year of disruption in that office, this is the first time a request has come forward, and I'd like to have this discussion. There's a big list of justifications below it, and again, this is a one-time, and the funds, Margaret, are coming from treasurer collector's expenses, treasurer
Salary.
collector's salary,
Salary line. Mhm.
salary lines.
You'll see the budget breakdown on the back. Between already incurred backfill expenses and anticipated backfill expenses, I project over a $3,500 excess in that line at the midway point of FY14.
That's to annualize it.
That's correct.
Discussion?
Margaret, I noticed you, for the administrative help, you're looking for an additional $3 an hour.
That's correct.
Is there a reason you do that instead of additional hours?
Yes, I did that because the additional hours would be very restricted. At 30 hours a week, there is only four business hours beyond the hours already worked, that position already works, to add additional time. But more importantly, I did it because of the added responsibilities outside the job description, plain and simply.
So not exclusively task-driven, but also the difference between the job description and the tasks being performed.
That's exactly it. It's responsibilities outside of the job description, which could be done, in additional hours, but it's responsibilities well beyond the job description.
So if I could follow up with that train of thought, this somehow is gauged against wages from other treasurer collectors, or?
No, this actually represents a midway point between our assessor's clerk and our payroll clerk.
Got it. So
And this temporary adjustment would fall between those two.
And does this have a timeline so that this doesn't become
Yes.
perpetual?
Yes, by the end of the calendar year, actually in the first one, I think, it was until a treasurer collector is in place.
Yep.
And then mine would be until the end of the calendar year, because I do expect I'll be helping that person transition.
Okay. Tom, your point about added hours actually makes some sense from a line of questioning's perspective. Are you gonna actually add hours, contact hours, people hours, et cetera? When in my business, you put hours on, you oftentimes trigger overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a slightly different kettle of fish. This doesn't sound like it's quite that way. Is the work, I guess, along those same lines, can the work be accomplished, continue to be accomplished, even though this is being incentivized? Are hours needed, I guess, is the question.
Beyond the additional hours are always needed.
I
We could
understand.
add,
Right.
I mean,
You
I
could
think
add staff, I get it.
when I prepared this, I did put a lot of thought into it, and I think most importantly, there has to be fair compensation for the tasks being performed. And that's why I did it this way.
Yep.
6 months in, yes, work productivity has suffered, and
Yep.
you could work 24/7.
Right.
So I know exactly what you're saying, but I really had to take into consideration in this recommendation, the tasks beyond normal duties.
Tom?
I just ask that we keep track of what we're doing,
Yeah.
so that we can maybe get every couple of weeks, get an update,
Yep, that makes sense.
especially if we hire someone and the need goes away.
Yes.
Right, no, you raise a good
I
point.
think I did put a firm
I know.
timeline, or no? I hope I did.
Okay.
So a couple.
But yes, I will
looks like in-
report back.
Okay. David, anything?
I was just wondering, is it easier to do a stipend for everyone, or?
I
don't know
don't
if-
think that's appropriate for an hourly, for
That's kind of what
hourly
I
rate,
thought, but I just
yeah.
want, that's what I thought. Good question.
But yeah, that's a good question.
No, and there's been a lot of slack picked up there in terms of, given what's been going on over the last year or so.
And again, a third item has to do with the deliverable upon completion.
That would be
Right.
paid on
And
completion.
whether-
And just to be clear,
What's that?
Very good point. I wanna, it's nice if you're gonna pay, to get the things done, but
Right.
at some point,
Gotta
we
see
have
it.
to see.
Right.
Something's
There's
gotta
a
be
measurable,
submitted.
that's the trigger, then the stipend happens.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, we unfortunately live in a very tough world. You're responsible for stuff, you have to produce.
That's exactly right.
it would be paid on completion. And just to be clear, these are for tasks that will have existed prior to a new treasurer collector's tenure.
That's actually a good point. This is actually carrying over.
This is carrying over.
Okay. Any other discussion?
No.
Not, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion's made and seconded to accept the town administrator's recommendation on these three items and check back with us in 2 weeks, and subsequent weeks thereafter. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0, please. Okay, 7:30. Who wants to hook up to the sewers?
No,
No? No? Yeah.
no sewer.
Come on
All
up.
right, come on up. So we're gonna put our sewer commissioners' hats on and talk about our application for residents to tie into the sewer system. This is for James Thomas as the applicant, and this address is 64 Hadley Road, and he's assured us he's gonna run 2 miles of 8-inch line to the town. And I appreciate that, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Not too
Look at the look.
So, it's all right. So we've got the maps in front of us, and again, there's a process here associated with it. This is a residence? No.
It's a
Farm.
farm.
Okay. And,
Actually,
What he needs to do is
for
he needs to
blueprints, you have
comply
to-
with the state regulations of providing a bathroom.
Yep.
In the, he's raising a few goats.
Yep.
He wants to be able to milk and make cheese.
Yep.
Not a big operation. This ain't like a major dairy, but
No
the
preliminary
requirements by the state is that he has a bathroom facility
for the workers. Yep.
or, and in the milk room, he has to be able to maintain sanitary conditions. And what we propose to do is take it to a septic tank, take it to a pump chamber, only pump the effluent water, the gray water, into the public sewer system.
Solids?
At the end of the no solids.
Really? Why would you
That'll
do
be
that?
retained in the septic system, in the septic tank. So what we're proposing to do is just pump the gray water system into that. He's got a high water table there. The trouble with a dairy operation is the BOD loading is
Yeah, I was wondering.
with the milk, it's a little bit high. So to go to a leach field type situation, it would,
Clog up.
it's not
Yeah.
advantageous. But to go to the public sewer, and you got very little flow coming out of those apartments anyways, it would be advantageous both to the town
hey, I've got,
because it's only water.
that didn't sound very
Only
good,
the
did
gray
it?
water, and it's already been semi-processed. We'll use a 2-compartment tank, go to a pump chamber, and it's a straight shot to the sewer manhole. Then he can have his wash facilities, he has the sanitary conditions, and he can do his little goat dairy operation. Does
Hadley-
not,
Hadley
no
Road, Chevron?
residential.
Right.
He wants to farm. I don't know why, but he wants to.
Jimmy, who's doing the digging?
I will.
Okay.
He works for Carl's.
There you go.
So we have a recommendation in front of us from an acknowledgement of the request in front of us from Rich Brendan, who's the PE on the treatment plant. And apparently there's no issues with that. And
From the highway
One from George.
superintendent as
highway
well.
superintendent as well. You got a swale you gotta cross there?
There's a
Yeah, it's
intermittent stream type thing, but
Ditches, Conservation Commission?
Yeah,
agricultural exempt.
seasonal. Yeah.
that's probably true,
I'm
yeah.
asking, I'm not trying to be a
Yep.
hurdle,
No.
I just wanna know for myself too.
No, agricultural.
It's the best section of ditch, by the way.
Because I keep it clean.
Exactly.
He has to clean it. It's agricultural.
So a 2-inch tie and any road cut, Jim?
I'm gonna try to bore it under.
Gonna get under it that way?
It's nice soil, easy to bore, straight shot to the manhole.
Elevation works for you?
Yep.
We've done in the past with borings in particular is to make sure that the tie, we've got the inverts, that the treatment plant operator can actually see it and sign off on it, as well as George.
Right.
Make sure the elevations are right, we don't come in too low, God forbid, that wouldn't be.
That's the end of the line there.
Well, you're gonna use a pump system anyways,
Yeah.
right?
Like forced
And
anyway.
you're coming into the end, so you're gonna have, cause it's joined in there, we should have the proper grade, Scott, and they're gonna do force.
Yes,
The only thing I would say is that they
It's
put in
actually the end of the line, right?
the only thing I would put down is someplace in the agreement is that they are responsible for, that's all private.
that's private.
And the only reason I would do that is just to protect yourselves and us in case someday someone wants to tie into it, because, and believe it or not, we have had that, we have had it happen before in town, so. I would say just so it's understood that it's a private hook, private hookup, that they're responsible for the rotting and that kind of stuff, so.
But we figured would be much better off just pumping the gray water, not moving any solids, don't clog up the lines. It's just gray water.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not gonna do the solids also.
How much is it really gonna be? It'd be one person,
Yeah, I'm just thinking, Matt, you send it through the macerator and down the chute.
It'd be fine. Gray water, don't have to worry about any sediment in the lines. 2-compartment tank is very clean.
I
You get
just,
the second
I just had
pump
the
chamber,
pump one.
which is even cleaner yet. It'll be,
I can tell you, a big tank fills up in 7 years.
it does.
I just had to do it Thursday, so. No one knew that they did the sewer, and they put it right in, they connect it right to an old septic tank, and 7 years later says, surprise, look what we found.
Yeah.
There it was.
Imagine that.
Okay, questions of the board?
No, I just, like I said, my only thing would be, I'm a little concerned BOD, because you are close to
Yeah.
treatment plant.
It's the milk. I mean, he's gonna have to do wash.
That you're
but-
washing down.
But going through the septic tank, a lot of that BOD will be removed. And it's a one-man operation, even the toilet facilities.
Today, but
He has to have it, but
Wow.
Today, but
You-
look at,
you could be
next thing you know, we may
award-winning.
have, look at Rock Warner when he started when the Warner family started the gravel pit, it was a one-man operation.
That's right.
Now look at
you gonna get that big, Jimmy?
You never know, they
Can
have
I
little
just ask
places
the
up in.
board a question? So is there anything that
Like
needs
goats.
to be included as a condition in this? And what exactly is that? I heard something about,
That you make, that there's noted on the plans and noted in the permit that it is actually a private line, that's the responsibility of whoever owns that piece of parcel.
okay,
That parcel.
Nice. Yeah, everything else is here.
Well,
I think
I would,
that's
and
important.
again, we know, with potential that BOD could be a problem, I agree with you, I don't think it is a problem, but I would say down the road that, we should mention something on we have a BOD problem, but
We could,
that's the extent
if you
of my-
mention it, just say if it's a problem down the line, we could go to additional treatment on site.
Yeah.
Before discharge.
That's fine.
It's an inline.
But I don't,
It's an easy fix.
yeah, it's an easy fix.
So,
Simple enough. Wait, we don't have any votes yet.
The chairman said done.
Any other questions or comments with regard to the sewer connection now? This is a permit in front of us, not quite the standard, but still.
And I would say the only thing that George has mentioned is that if any, you're talking
Pavement's
about,
cut.
I would say contact George, you know, if we put in the thing also that before you start work under the road or on the road,
Right.
whatever, that you
Coordinate.
you coordinate with George, just make sure I'm sure you'll see George.
Yeah, I do.
He does it all
Just
the
talk,
time.
yeah, just talk to George.
And inspections are required by the wastewater treatment plant operator before the work is covered. That's the other.
Both wastewater and highway.
And me,
And you.
and the
Yeah,
engineer.
the guy who's got the
Have to
stamp.
look at it.
Perfect.
See, it's a combination of roles, because it has to be because the septic tank and the pump chamber, that's Board of Health.
Mm-hmm.
The sewer line is Sewer Commission.
Interesting, huh? All right.
There'll be more inspectors out there looking at that than, you know.
Hopefully they're future chief
Bill, I can
buyers.
guarantee you won't
Right.
be one of us.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, is there a motion?
Motion?
There's a motion made and seconded to grant the sewer connection, 64 Hadley Road for James Thomas, with the requested language attached to the permit. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0, please. Thanks so much, fellas.
Thank you very
Appreciate it.
much.
And Jim, wish you the
Appreciate
best with that.
Good,
Yeah.
good luck, Jimmy.
Like Jim.
Okay, public comment? Public comment? You wanna say hi?
Hi.
They have are they heading today for the tobacco something?
Oh, that was the Board of Health, and they
Sorry.
were meeting downstairs. They're probably done by now.
Oh,
Tobacco regs,
yes.
that was Board of Health.
Downstairs.
Downstairs. Okay, I can try.
Yes.
My apologies.
All right. Sorry.
Hope you enjoyed this meeting.
Okay, I wondered, but I should have asked earlier. Town administrator updates?
We are gonna have some big solar updates pretty soon, but very briefly, I spoke with our consultant today. We're beginning to fine tune the economics of the project. It's getting
Close.
very, very close. The PPA and lease agreements are undergoing final legal review. I'll be talking to town council tomorrow. Broadway, tomorrow night is a big planning board hearing on the solar project, so Broadway will be there, presenting the plans. And the economics have really not changed substantially at all from what was presented at town meeting, even though the project size, the overall
Shrunk
project.
a little bit.
Yeah, it decreased. It decreased. So, so we're working on that. Broadway does have timelines to get a contract in place by the end of the year. I'm hoping to get Beth Greenblatt here to the board's meeting in the next few weeks to actually give the board updates on project economics, the PPA, the lease agreements, and other things with getting the project up and running. So, solar is the big thing. And I have an important reminder. A community needs survey is out right now. You can link to the survey on the town's website at www.townofsunderland.us. This survey is to kick off the town's master plan update process, which we want to start next year. And to date, the response to the survey has been dismal. So expect a Connect CTY message to point residents in the direction of the survey, either on paper, you can come to our office, or online. But we need to see a better survey response over the next couple of weeks. So expect more on that. And that's all I have right now.
Treasurer collector update?
Treasure collector updates. Sewer billing typically begins about now. The sewer bills go out with the actual billing, which goes out by the end of December. So again, in the next couple of weeks, I will be before the board with a sewer commitment, explaining or I guess requesting the flat rate for the coming year. And treasure collector search is underway. I've begun conducting screening, and I do hope to have a recommendation ready for the board by next Monday.
Okay. Board updates?
David?
I don't think there are any this week, I can think off the top of my head.
I would just like to say that, yesterday there was a memorial service for Tim Merritt, at Frontier that was put on by the, staff of Sunderland Elementary, and with help from FCAT was there, and it was, I think Marty Barrett, the superintendent, kind of summed up the feelings that right after Tim's passing in October, early October, people were running on shock at that time. And actually having the memorial service this past weekend allowed people an opportunity to reflect on Tim's meaning to all of us. And I thought it was exceptionally well done. I would say that one of the things that is hard is that if you sit in your house and you don't participate in things going on, and this, I mean, is going to a theater production at Frontier, going to a open house at Sunderland Elementary, and to see the amazing things that our children are doing today, you're missing out. And it's really easy to criticize expenses, and sometimes I think we criticize the wrong locations, and I think ever since our failed override, I think that one message that was lost is how the state does not really support our education to the extent that it should extend. And what's quite amazing is that every time tests are performed, and I'll go back saying this 4, 5, 6 years ago, when I hear on Rush Limbaugh talk about the excellence of Massachusetts schools, which pains him to say, and he said that himself, I'm just paraphrasing it, but it actually pained him to say. But when you look at that, you come to realize that the state of Massachusetts, sometimes our state government takes a lot of credit, but it's really on the local taxpayers that are paying the predominance of those bills. And I would just like to remind people, if they have an opportunity, that's why one of the things I was asking with Adam this evening was about how do they get that information out? Because I think if you have an opportunity, right now, if you look at our camera people, those are Frontier students. Okay, those are, you know, those are our kids. Those are our kids, not ours specifically, but those are our kids doing great things. They're involved in their community, and I think sometimes we lose sight of that. And when I was sitting there, it was, sometimes it's nice because you're able to sit and watch the things that go on in front of you, and to watch the 6th grade class yesterday sing the beginning of the service, and then watch them sing a song that was written by their music instructor. It's a kind of, it makes you feel really good, and I wish more people could participate and see that, and they could get that same feeling. So that being said, Tim Merritt was a very special individual to a lot of us, and the thing yesterday, and I don't think we've talked about here, but Tim was awarded the Citizen of the Year by the Central Massachusetts Veterans Administration, and that all came about by a concerned resident, not concerned, but a resident that asked a question. It came to the board worked with Margaret, we worked with our veterans group, and we ended up talking to the Veterans Affairs people, and they had never done this before. But then when it was explained what Tim had done, we were just looking for a little proclamation, and they ended up making him the Citizen of the Year, for all the great work. So I think it was nice. That plaque will be down at the school, so reminding the children, but residents of Sunderland, your kids are being taught a lot of good stuff. And you should be proud of them.
Anything else?
I had the honor of being there sort of in dual roles, as a parent of one of the children there, and then as a selectman, so it was a good experience, yeah. I think it was a fitting tribute to a music-loving man.
That's a good point,
You know,
actually.
we would talk a lot about music and stuff like that together, so. Just one other point too about Massachusetts, and this is another thing that would probably just pain Mr. Limbaugh, but, you know, in the vein of frugal New Englanders, Massachusetts, the top energy efficient state in the nation.
Second
We
or
just got
third
that.
year in a row?
I think so, yeah, and we're in the top 10 again, and we're number 1, so. More good news especially with our solar panels inching closer, you know?
They
So-
keep coming. Very good. Anything else? If not, we'll be back at this same bat channel, this same bat time, next Monday, 7 o'clock. Thanks so much. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Motion's made in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You call us out at, it's 3-0, Margaret. You can call us out at 7:54. Thanks so much. Thank you, FCAT.
I think we need to
Thank
change the
you.
bulb in the bat signal.